Player evaluation and analysis. Every player has an average value, which at first glance gives a very rough overview of his performance. This is an average of all so-called hard skills of the player. In other words, the measurable values such as speed, shooting technique and stamina. All factors are given on a scale from 1 to 100. As in real football, there are many more factors that are relevant when evaluating a football player. Fitness is a snapshot of his current physical condition. A top player with poor fitness usually performs worse than a slightly worse player with top fitness. As a coach, you learn the player's form on the basis of his latest performance and, above all, from the impression he makes at training. For example, young talent can experience a brief explosion of form and let their potential shine. The form is displayed as a bar scale from 1 to 5. 3 bars are normal form and mean that the player can use his normal potential. In top form, the player can have the game of his life. With 1 bar, it's better for him to skip a game. The scores and game reports show you how well your player is doing, in which position and in which formation. With the help of the overview of scores, you can also draw wonderful conclusions about the consistency of a player. Can he use his full potential regularly, or is he a little less predictable? Which brings us to the so-called soft skills. In other words, the non-measurable values that only come to light over time. This also includes the susceptibility to injury and how rough a player can sometimes be in a match. Is the player an aggressive leader, or does he become one over time? That can be an important factor. For example, if a typical fighter is needed in the defensive midfield. However, these properties are all risk factors that should be considered when scouting a potential newcomer. Even a good player can cause frustration if he is constantly injured, suspended, or only rarely performs to his full potential. Or he'll become a legend. The goal threat, i.e. the killer instinct, completely independent of the shooting technique or the tactical skills, is a skill that a footballer is born with. The number of goals scored is the best indicator here. It is the same with a characteristic provider. Often a player stands in his own way. A pronounced ego is essential for a goal scorer, but sometimes a hindrance for a playmaker. How does the player behave in extreme situations? Does he keep his nerve? Maybe he needs the adrenaline to perform at his best? These psychological factors change with his achievements and experiences. And then there are the players who are better to never leave their hometown, because they just won't be happy if they are far away. But during the first transfer, there is no way to know that yet. In addition to the hard and soft skills, there is another very important evaluation factor. How well does the player fit into the intended position within the formation? Is he suitable for the tactic? An uncompromising centre-back with legendary tackling skills but poor understanding of tactics and little speed is not very suitable for an offensive 4-3-3 with pressing and offside trap, for example. Or a fast, agile striker with weak headers, probably not very effective as a classic centre-forward. A player's age and talent have an impact on several factors. The younger a player, the greater the potential for development. With good training and regular involvement in games, a young player's natural development is even better than an older player's. This is where talent comes in. At the beginning of his career, this is not yet known and must be discovered through training and games. Gradually, a player's true potential becomes clear. Here, the following applies. The greater the talent, the stronger the development of the player's characteristics. In addition, with a very talented player, the potential that lies dormant in him sometimes flares up at a young age. This is then evidenced by his very good form. Of course, both factors, age and talent, also have a major influence on market value. Therefore, a young, very talented player is not only a good building block for the team, but also a perfect capital investment, depending on the strategy of the team manager. The way we see it. At Online League Co. UK, there is no single global skill value that marks a player as good, mediocre or outstanding. There are many factors that should be considered in order to assemble a powerful team for the desired outcome. It must be decided on a case-by-case basis which factors should be prioritized. And precisely that is your job as a team manager.